All right, everyone, let's get started with today's session on probability trees and conditional expectations. This topic is crucial not just for your CFA exams, but also for understanding risk management in real-world finance. We'll break it down step by step, so by the end, you'll be comfortable with the concepts and their applications. First off, let's talk about the expected value of a random variable. This concept is the bedrock of probability theory and is widely used in finance. Think of the expected value as the long-term average outcome if you were to repeat an experiment an infinite number of times. It's the probability weighted average of all possible outcomes. Sounds fancy, right? But it's pretty straightforward when you break it down. To calculate the expected value, you multiply each possible outcome by its probability and sum them all up. Next up, let's discuss variance. Variance measures how much the outcomes of a random variable differ from the expected value on average. It's a key measure of risk in finance. This is the formula for variance. In other words, variance is the expected value of the squared deviations from the expected value. If the variance is 0, there's no dispersion, meaning the outcome is certain and there's no risk. On the flip side, a higher variance indicates higher risk because the outcomes are more spread out. Finally, the standard deviation is simply the square root of the variance. Why do we use the standard deviation? It's because it's easier to interpret, being in the same units as the original data, making it more intuitive. Now, let's shift gears and talk about probability trees and conditional expectations. A topic that might sound a bit intimidating at first, but don't worry, we'll break it down step by step in a way that's easy to grasp. First things first, let's talk about what we're dealing with here. Probability trees are visual tools that help us map out all possible outcomes of a situation and their probabilities. They're super handy for keeping things organized when you have multiple stages or branches of decision making. Okay. Conditional expectations are about understanding what to expect given that a certain condition or scenario has happened. It's like saying, given that it's raining, what's the probability I'll need an umbrella? This concept is essential when the outcome of a random variable depends on certain conditions or scenarios. The conditional expected value is the expected value of a random variable given that a specific event or scenario has occurred. It's denoted as expected value of a random variable x given S, where S represents the given scenario. Conditional variance measures the variability of a random variable given that a specific condition or scenario has occurred. The total probability rule calculates the overall expected value of a random variable by summing the expected values of all possible scenarios, each weighted by their probability. It's like saying, given all possible situations, what's the average outcome we can expect? Let's imagine we're analysts at a firm trying to predict the company's earnings per share based on different economic environments. Here's how we can use a probability tree to map this out. This is where we start. We have two possible scenarios for interest rates, declining or stable. To begin our analysis, we'll establish two primary scenarios based on the potential interest rate environment. The first scenario assumes declining interest rates with a probability of 55%. The second scenario represents stable interest rates occurring with a probability of 45%. These are like the starting branches of our decision tree. All right, let's get more specific within each scenario. Under the declining interest rate scenario, we consider the probabilities for different earnings per share outcomes. There's a 20% chance of EPS reaching $2.70 and a 80% chance of it reaching $2.50. Similarly, under the stable interest rate scenario, we have a 50% chance of EPS being $2.30 and a 50% chance of it being $2.10. This expands our tree to two levels, with the initial branch representing the interest rate environment and the subsequent branches representing the corresponding EPS outcomes under each scenario. The next step involves calculating the combined probabilities for each potential final outcome. To achieve this, we multiply the probabilities along the branches, each path, leading to that outcome. In the case of EPS equaling $2.70, we multiply the probability of declining interest rates by the probability of EPS reaching $2.70 under declining rates, resulting in a combined probability of 11%. Similarly, we will calculate all of these probabilities using the same method. Okay, so we've got our tree. Now let's talk about conditional expectations. This is where we ask, given a specific scenario, what's the expected value? This concept helps us determine the expected value within a specific scenario. For instance, consider the declining interest rate environment. The expected EPS under this scenario would be $2.54. This value is calculated by multiplying the probability of each possible EPS outcome within the scenario by its corresponding value and then summing those products. We can perform the same calculation for the stable interest rate environment, resulting in an expected EPS of $2.20. These conditional expectations essentially provide us with the average EPS we can anticipate under each specific set of circumstances. Finally, we combine these conditional expectations with the probabilities of each scenario to get the overall expected EPS. This is where the total probability rule comes into play. To arrive at the overall expected EPS, we combine the previously calculated conditional expectations with the probabilities of each corresponding scenario. This is our grand total, the overall expected EPS, taking into account all the different scenarios and their probabilities. This value incorporates the influence of both potential interest rate environments and their respective probabilities, providing a more comprehensive picture of the anticipated EPS. So our overall expected EPS, taking into account both declining and stable interest rate environments, is approximately $2.39. You might be wondering, why should I care about all this? Imagine you're lost in the woods trying to find your way back. Probability trees and conditional expectations are like your map and compass in the world of uncertainty. They help you figure out investments, predict company earnings, or even make big business choices. No more wandering around in the dark. These tools help you break down complex problems into clear steps, leading to smarter decisions. Keep practicing with different scenarios and probabilities to strengthen your understanding. The more you work with these concepts, the more intuitive they'll become. Ever heard of Bayes' formula? It lets us learn and adapt our predictions as we go, making our decisions way more informed. Pretty cool, right? Bayes' formula helps us tweak probabilities when we get fresh info. In the finance world, this formula is like our secret weapon for adjusting risk assessments on the fly. Now, what's Bayes' formula? Well, it's like this magical math trick that lets us update our probabilities based on shiny new data. It looks something like this. Let's dive into a practical example to understand this better. Imagine we're analyzing a tech company's earnings per share scenarios with the goal to find out the probability that it will beat earnings expectations. Here are the initial probabilities we start with. There is a 45% probability that EPS will exceed consensus estimates. There is a 30% probability that EPS will meet consensus estimates, and a 25% probability that EPS will fall short of consensus estimates. These are prior probabilities. Consider the scenario where the tech firm's decision to expand hinges on the EPS announcement. If EPS surpasses consensus estimates, the probability of expansion announcement spikes to 75%. If EPS meets consensus estimates, the likelihood drops to 20%, and if EPS falls short, the probability dwindles to 5%. These are conditional probabilities. First, we will calculate the unconditional probability of companies' market expansion by combining these conditional probabilities with our prior probabilities using total probability rule. This is 41%. This is the total probability rule in action. Now, imagine we receive news that the company is expanding. We know they expanded, but not necessarily how their EPS performed, exceeded, met, or fell short. In step 2, we will see how to update probability with new information. Bayes' formula reverses the given that information, enabling us to infer the probability of an initial scenario after observing a related event. The question is, how does this news affect the probability of EPS exceeding expectations? Intuitively, knowing they expanded suggests positive earnings news, right? We can leverage Bayes' theorem to update the probability of exceeding EPS expectations given the expansion news. This essentially refines our initial 45% based on the new information. Here is our probability breakdown. Probability A is the prior probability, the initial probability of event. That is earnings exceeding the consensus estimate before considering event B, which is decision to expand. This is 45%. Probability B is the marginal likelihood, the total probability of occurring event B, that is decision to expand. 41%. Probability of B given A in our case is the probability of decision to expand given earnings exceed the consensus estimate. 75%. Now we will calculate probability of A given B. In our example, probability of earnings exceed the consensus estimate given decision to expand. By applying Bayes' theorem, we calculate the posterior probability, the updated chance of exceeding EPS given the expansion news, 82.3%. This demonstrates how Bayes' formula allows us to become more confident in our predictions with new information. The initial 45% probability represents a general guess before considering any specific information. The news of expansion suggests something positive about the company's performance, tilting the odds towards exceeding EPS. Bayes' theorem mathematically accounts for this shift, resulting in a significant increase in the probability to 82.3%. Diffuse priors come into play when we assign equal probabilities to events due to a lack of specific prior knowledge. This approach is useful when we want to be neutral and not biased toward any particular outcome. Posterior probability, on the other hand, is the updated probability of an event occurring after taking new information into account. It helps us make better informed decisions by revising our initial estimates. And there you have it, the basics of Bayes' formula. Remember, this tool is all about updating your beliefs with new information, a skill that's invaluable in finance. Keep practicing, and soon using Bayes' formula will become second nature. And that wraps up our session on probability trees and conditional expectations. Make sure you practice these calculations and understand the logic behind them. This knowledge is vital for risk management and making informed financial decisions. Don't hesitate to dive into more practice problems and reach out if you have questions. Good luck with your studies. See you in the next session.